for today's talk, we have Trupti with us as a speaker. And a brief about Trupti. Trupti is a product designer based in Toronto, Canada, with 5 years of industry experience. And she has worked with Coca-Cola, Amazon, and consulted 4 startups, providing UX strategy, interface design, sprints, and design workshops. When she is not working as a product designer, so she can be found creating content on Instagram and YouTube, and sharing insights and her journey. And she had over 85,000 of Instagram followers. So I think without any further delay, I would request Tripti to take the charge, and we can start this session. Yeah, one more point. So if you guys have any question, you can post it in the section. So there will be a specific Q&A session, and we can discuss that. Yeah.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. I know, I don't know, thanks for joining in on the Saturday evening for a lot of people. And I hope you're excited for this session as much as I am. Uh, if it is too uncomfortable for you guys to show up your face, that is also okay. It's really nice to see a lot of your faces. I don't know your name, but it would be great later on in the session if you ask questions and I get to know your name also. Cool. So I'm going to start the session. Thanks for joining in. Just share my presentation right now. Okay. So I started my building my community or being part of any community since last year around May. So I'm going to be talking more about that. So today's agenda is a lot more about. I'm going to introduce myself, talk a little bit about me, and then I'm going to talk about why do you need to come online or why do you even need to showcase your work, which platform or a tool that you should use or even consider using, uh, how do you go about doing content generation and building a set routine for yourself so that next to this week you're super motivated and the next week you're not. So how do you stay motivated and produce this constant content generation? And the next point is you have to become a design advocate. You should be passionate as a designer about what work you do. And lastly is cultivating a certain mindset that will help you keep on growing in the rest of your career, whether it's building content or whether it's as a designer, it will help you just grow. So before we start, a little bit introduction about me. I know Sandeep already gave the introduction about me. I have almost 5 years of experience, and I have been building my community since last year. I have almost 85,000 followers. Also started building my YouTube channel right now, which almost has 200 subscribers right now. Uh, so this is my career in a nutshell. Currently, I work. So if you see, Treasure is where I currently work into, and this is where I started. I did so all these spaceship points are my learning points, where I studied engineering. I did a diploma, and then I did my masters. And this I have been learning content since a long time now, and I can share all my insights throughout the journey. I was hired with Amazon, a lot of startups, with Coca-Cola. With I was working with a creative agency, then a product company, and then I just liked the whole aspect of end-to-end design generation, which is for a product company. So I really enjoy working with startups. That's why I am planning to move myself to just working with startups from end-to-end delivery. Um, so generally, designers are a non-traditional group of people, and I call myself I'm a rebel with a cause. And you need to be able. Designers are generally the outcasts. They are not. They don't fit into some place well. We like to work by ourselves or stay into our own bubbles or stay into our own thoughts. So I call myself as a rebel. A lot of times I have rebelled with my parents of moving out from engineering. So that's been quite a journey for me. The next part is you need to showcase that you are a rebel, and you need to showcase that in your work. You need to show why are you a rebel, or what is the cause of it, or why you're passionate about something. So that is super important. So these are the three reasons you should definitely showcase your work. I'm going to start with a story about Lauren. So Lauren started sharing her process. She was actually a student. She started this exercise of dishonesty or something like that, and she created an entire book of or her assignment in a college project, and she started sharing all of her process on Instagram. So people want to become a part of your process. They want to see why you're working on this assignment, or what made you start on this assignment. And that assignment actually nailed her a five figure she generated five figure out of it. So she's purely an inspiration, and I follow her on Instagram since a really long time. She inspires a lot of type designers, and she has started her own podcast. She does a lot for her community, and you can follow her online. She's a great example on how people get engrossed with your journey or your assignment, and she speaks highly about type designing. The second reason is people want to learn from your experience. So this is Ali. He has around 3 million views on YouTube for just one video, which is called as how he became first in Cambridge University, and he shares his experience. How did he got to that? What was his learning process? How does he study? And he's a doctor as well as a YouTuber. So that's a blast combination I found when stumbled across his profile. So you guys should definitely check him out. He teaches how to learn and read books, basically study medical. So since he's a doctor, so he teaches about how do you memorize better and learn better. So people want to learn from your experience, especially beginners. They want to see how you grow, and they relate to yourself. They relate themselves to yourself, and they would want to grow in that direction. The last part is when people see your work outside, they want to work with you. So I would like to give my example over here because I was doing a case study, and I got recruited by my current company based on this case study I was working on. This was a side project, and that's how I landed my job. It was pure, and I was actually given the first preference in the candidates because I had already done a project very similar to what the company is really working on and building a vision for. So that is definitely a keen point in showcasing your work, because you want to have that future-proof career, irrespective of a pandemic, irrespective of a bad. Even if your startup falls down tomorrow, you make yourself ready to be hired by someone else. So yeah, you have to make yourself future proof by showcasing a lot of content online. So the next point we are going ahead is this is a page from Showcasing Your Work Online by Austin Kleon. You guys should definitely take that book. It was referenced in the starting of this presentation. So when you look at a tool, you have to ask these three questions. First one is, how are others using this tool? What is the tool made for, and what can I use it for, or how should I use it for? So what I did was I used this. So there are different tools which you can use. You can use YouTube for video content. You can use Instagram for there. With the Instagram reels coming in, Instagram has become a lot more dynamic. You can not only share video, you can share carousels, you can share one page content, you can also share like a short video now. like 15 seconds only. In LinkedIn also you can share all of those content. So these are 6 different platforms with different criterias on sharing content on each of them. So I'm going to deep dive into Instagram. So what is it made for? How are others using it, and what I can use for? So when you are answering these questions, it might be different for each one of you, and I want you guys to write it down for yourself. You can take a screenshot and write down these questions for yourself on what do you think it is made for, and these are my references. When I started Instagram, I did not do any of these exercises. I just started Instagram because I wanted to share my work and I wanted to connect with people. So that is why I started my Instagram page. It was not purely of building a huge community or becoming an design advocate or even becoming a mentor. So these were nothing in my plate. So since you guys know, it's called Troops Folio. So I named it because there are two parts in the name itself. That is a part of folio means I cut it down from portfolio and it's on my own name. So it's called Troops Folio. So it's like a break. I wanted to start building Instagram as my own portfolio. So that's how I named it as Troops Folio. Uh, so these are the questions I answered for myself. First one, what is it made for? People like to showcase their work or their journey. What are the keen interests? People have pages on cooking, dogs. People like to connect with these like-minded. So if there is a page with a dog and I really like dogs, I'm going to follow that page. So you connect with others on the like-mindedness you have. So what did I want to use it for? So I wanted to learn and share everything about design, where I learn something daily and share something daily. I wanted to create a page where I could express whatever I want, share whatever I want, and there was no boss on my head to tell this shouldn't go there or that shouldn't go there. It was purely my expressive platform. That is how I started using it. So now I'm going to give you a couple of examples who are there on Instagram. Now, these are the veterans in the industry. They already have 20 plus year experience under their belt, and they are design educators. They promote basically how you should start. They're giving back to the community more. They don't need to build their own communities because they already have built a huge revenue model for themselves. Here they are just purely giving back to their community and teaching about design on why people should get into design or how do you design better. So they give back to the community. Now, these are two other people. They're called as Frank, Good Day Frank, if you have seen him on Instagram, or Julia Braga. They both are actually building their own brand presence so that they can showcase that they have a concrete, they are independent designers and they want to build their online presence so that they can attract new clients. Whether it's Frank talks about just brand strategy, brand design, whereas Julia talks more about strategy on how to setting up different strategy for your brand, or she even does a lot of consultation. So she talks about that. They both are small. They have not major audiences, but they know how to get attract the right clients, and they have built successful revenue model for themselves. The third one is actually when you are a content strategist. Dinah and Dane both are very different personalities. Dinah likes to showcase her face on a lot of she's very engaging on the stories, whereas Dane has heavy carousal posts. So sometimes you need to even think about what personality you're going to put into your post. Do you want to showcase your face more, or do you just want to give off your content? So these are a lot of things that you need to think about when you're starting Instagram. uh, why are you doing it? What personality? It's basically like building a brand for yourself. Now we're going to talk a little more about the other platforms that are there. So YouTube, YouTube is majorly where you can share a lot of video content. The highest viewed YouTube channels are basically T series in India, because people use YouTube as music channels. They you constantly keep on listening to music in the background, even if you're not watching it, it's just on behind in the background. uh, Gamers, when they're doing a lot of streaming sessions, you can they use YouTube to stream their entire game sessions, and they have tons and tons and tons of views on them. What you can use YouTube for is showcasing how you design a particular thing, or sharing your small tips and tutorial, or sharing your story. Even if you do the same video content, imagine you this is an example given by my mother. She says that there might be two different cooking channels and they might cook the same recipe, but I would still prefer seeing what the chef A has done versus the chef B has done. So it also depends on the what personality you put in, or do they like your design style, or people get attracted towards them. The second one is, if you really enjoy writing, then Medium can be a really good source of place also, where you can just publish one article every week. It's a really good place. People earn about 6,000 per month. That has been the highest that is given to Medium partners. You can earn the basic of $100 per month also, and this is basically side income. You're not a pure writer, or you're not pure YouTuber. It's something that you generate like a passive income on the side, which for one blog or one article you have written over 2 years behind. Then there's also Behance. Behance is very it's the go-to place if you want to look for a different projects, or you want to hire. So these are used by HRs, marketing people, to actually look at certain projects and hire the designers if they're available to work with them. A lot of people recruit designers based on Behance work. If Dribble is majorly used in the US and the Canada, where people actually go look at the Dribble profiles. In India, Dribble is not much preferred, but in US and Canada, a lot of clients go over Dribble. I have seen that people use Dribble extensively. They see their work, and then they download the UI kits, or they actually connect with the designers if they like the design work, and recruit them for specific needs. So Dribble is really used here. If you want to expand yourself into the especially in abroad countries, where you want to build a presence so that you get some work from the external clients or clients from abroad, you need to build a Dribble community. LinkedIn is basically used by companies, businesses, small businesses, HR, and if you start promoting how do you design for this, or how do you cure the remedy of these different businesses using carousel posts or videos, you can be reached out by them, and they can be your next clients. One thing I've recently stumbled across is Facebook groups. So suppose you are, I'll give you an example. Suppose you join a Webflow group where they only talk about how you use Webflow, what are the different projects happening, um, and people just engage heavily in that group. Uh, and there might be even clients that come into the group and say, I have a Webflow requirement, is anyone available? And you reply to them, you showcase your work, and you get hired. So Facebook groups are also used in order to reach extra clients. So these can be really great places, and you have to choose your tool according to why you need it, and how you're going to use these tools. The next part is how you're going to start building your Instagram. First, what you need to do is you need to define your industry, and I've taken my example. I have chosen UI, UX, and product design. But now you need to even choose further. You need to go down into the industry. So I've chosen product design, even though it involves a lot more. But you can go into the sub industry definitely. uh, and what you need to do is, uh, when you're building for Instagram, you cannot just be on Instagram. You need to go look at other places like Reddit, Quora. These are platforms where people actually ask really good questions. Like, for example, in Quora, someone asked, "How do I get into UX design?" So I used a reference of a UX design, and I searched into these different question based platforms. How What are the people asking questions, what are the best UI UX design companies in India, and you can do a post about that. How can I learn to become an expert in UI UX designer? So these are questions that people are constantly asking, and you can understand which are the questions that are heavily required. What is the difference between UX and UI designer? So that has a lot of follows, or people want to know about it. Almost 2.3k people have read it, so you know this is a hot topic. You can browse through this entire list and pick a topic that you really want to build on. So this is how you use leverage other platforms to build your own Instagram. uh, what people are looking for and what can you give in that specific domain or industry that you have shortlisted for yourself. Like, for example, if you pick Canva as a tool, so you can actually go in Reddit or Quora and look for Canva, how to design in Canva, or just press Canva, and you list down all the different things people ask with the Canva tool. So that is what you do your basic research on, and you can make a list of questions that has already been asked by people, which you can convert them into Instagram posts. There's one more good reference which is called as Answer the Public. What this platform does is it's a really amazing tool. You can actually pick the particular country. You can actually choose your language, and you have to ask a particular enter a particular subdomain. So, for example, in this example, I had used UI UX design or just UX design, and it gave me a list of these questions that a person can ask. It's a really beautiful tool where it gives you a list of so many different questions that people are asking, and it maps out into the in the entire internet, and it collects these different questions. So you can start. These are great starting points when you want to start building content in your particular niche, and these are the different questions you can get started, so that whether you want to do a video topic on it, whether you want to build a carousel post on it, or whether you just want to keep on creating this entire list. So these are great tools to start with. The next point is, how do you create routines and habits? For me, when I started on my social media creation, I was very new to it. I did not know how to build those carousel posts 1 year back. Whether I wanted to even create it, I did not know about it. But I used to actually wake up really early, study. I got into the habit of learning always on the side, and whatever I used to learn, I used to convert them into posts, so that I know I was bringing something new to the table. Um, and I was learning and creating every day, and that led to an exponential growth for myself over a period of 1 year. What I want you to take it as a challenge is do anything continuously for 90 days, whether you're waking up in the morning, or you don't have to wake up in the morning. If you feel like you are a night person, then you go back home and you dedicate that 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. before you go to bed. You feel good about that. Okay, you have been productive, you have invested in yourself, and you sleep better. For me, it was, I started my day with a bang, and I was very motivated to work for the rest of the day, and that is how it just stuck. The routine just stuck, and I really enjoy. Even though I don't get up at 6 a.m. right now because of the heavy work, I sleep in late. But I try to wake up at least by 7:30, and that initially 1 to 2 hours I definitely dedicated to myself and my content generation. uh, so break your to-do list into such a small step that it's easier for you to do, and you do a lot more. Like for example, if you want to create a post, there are a lot of things that go into post. Whether you want to do it in 1 day or you want to do it over 3 days, it is purely dependent on your pace. So for example, if we break down one post, there are a lot of things. In the part one, you have to find the topic. In the part two, you have to write the basic summary of what your post is going to look, whether it's structuring your layout, or whether it's writing a video script, or whether it's just giving, if you're writing a medium article, you have to summarize all those points. The part three of it is you have to collect references. Are you referencing a certain design, or what is the mood board of your design? Initially, these might be a little strenuous because you're building your visual design, but later on, once you get used to it, obviously, referencing and mood board will be out of the place because you have a set visual style for yourself. In the part four, whether you're designing a post or writing the actual blog or you are recording the video, so this is the actual hours that you put in. I generally keep it as a minimum of 1 to 2 hours because it takes so much of time to in order to design the post or in order to get completed for the video recording. And then the last part is actually posting properly. So for example, once your content is ready, you need to dedicate at least 15 to 30 minutes to post properly. Like for example, you need to look at the hashtags, you need to write another caption, you have to explain the gist of why people are watching it and why do they need it. You have to export it in different formats. So these are different steps, and you can do it over the period of week. So generally, keep a what things you're posting this week. Keep a gap at least for a week, and suppose you want to start posting this week, so prepare. Your post will go out after 2 weeks, and you will have a break of at least 1 week so that your routine gets set up. What I used to do, this is my before and after of routine. So before I was a new basically, and I used to sometimes I not even used to make a list for the week. I just to think through for the entire day about what post I'm going to make for tomorrow, write the content in the night, and I used to wake up, create the design, and I used to post immediately. Now I have a Notion board of ideas. I write only 3 pieces of content in a week. I post 3 pieces of post over the week. So these are basically a before and after of structure I used to do. Whether don't do everything in a day. Bucket it out, like dedicate 15 minutes before, then will be your concentrated work hour, that where you completely work on design itself, no distraction, when you're focusing and completely working on that. Break it down so that it really helps you to post better, and it can be used for any channel, whether it's YouTube, whether it's because YouTube also has keyword research, it has scripting, it has video recording, it has caption writing, it has tags finding. So I generally break down one little post or one little content into number of steps on how what needs to do in order to build that. So this is my content planner from Notion, where I make a list of all the contents, and this is the particular series I'm doing. What is the status of the particular content? This is a scheduled date. Where I'm posting it? Am I repurposing it somewhere? So I really enjoy making this Notion board where I just keep on adding ideas. If I need some content help, then I'll send it to my friend, and they will add comments to the places where they feel I need improvement over it. So you can, even if you're not good at writing content, then you can always take help. Consistency is the key. So you might have heard this across every platform that consistency is really the key. Suppose you choose to post only on Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. So your post should go. You have to select a particular time for your post and when. What is the particular day of your post? You cannot just post randomly 5 on Wednesday, 9 a.m. on Thursday, and then again something on Saturday. You have to post regularly each week on Monday, Thursday, and Sunday, and keep this routine for at least a month in order for the algorithm to notice you that hey, this person is posting serious content and they're serious about building the community. They spend so much of hours, so the algorithm needs to recognize you that because of your consistency, and they identify a pattern in your posting, and that is how they collect your knowledge. And uh, once they recognize this pattern, they're definitely going to boost you. Algorithms identify patterns much more better than inconsistent posting patterns. So once you have done the you start building content and you connect with a lot of people online, you actually become a design advocate. You're speaking passionately. For me, I have started speaking about design, my work, very passionately, and I have to keep this passion up at all times, whether I'm working with a client or talking to someone new or talking to a mentee. I have to keep it up all the time because that is what. And it's not something you need to fake it, because I'm really passionate about design by blood itself. So I really enjoy speaking about it, and it does not feel unreal for me when I keep on speaking about it, whether it's in my office, whether it's someone new. So, for example, if you consider yourself, and there are other designers, so whether you so for example, I'm a UX designer. If I There is some UI designer, there's a brand designer, there is a brand strategists. These are different forms of designers or creators around you. You learn from them and you get into a network with all of these designers. You not only have to be in touch with the beginners, there are new learners, people who want. Beginners are someone who are into the industry and they're junior designers. They want to start into the industry. New learners are the one who are really enthusiastic about moving into design, but they don't know how to get into it, or they're learning design by themselves. So these are new learners. Then you are a part of a certain office environment, or you are working somewhere. You're also in the office environment. You are part of different teams. Like if you are a marketing team, you are in contact with the marketeers, the content writers. People who don't People have a gist about designing, but they don't actually come and design. For me, I'm a part of the engineering team, so I am in touch with the developers, the product managers. They have a basic understanding of the design, but they do not know in core what happens in design. Then you work with clients and business. So for example, you got your freelance project from this client, or you're partnering with some businesses so that you want to promote their work, or even so for example, I am partnering with an educational company called as Qs, and I it's a partnership with them, and I've been promoting UX and UI design over there. uh, so when you're building this network with other designers, you not only learn from them, but for you help out each other. Like for example, I have been reached out by other designers, like UX designers. If they have their plate full, they will say, "Hey Trupti, do you have some free time? I'm approached by my client, and I do not have. I have a really hectic schedule. Can you work for them?" So you get recommended because of the other designers also, and you can even give your client to them if you are completely busy and want to, you want to still retain your client, a good reputation with them, but also do not want to work, you outsource the work. And how do you build this network with other designers? Have like really genuine conversations with them, know about them, be curious about their life, how do they do design. And when you It's a general etiquette when someone asks you about, so for example, if I come and ask Radhika, she's one of the members in the webinar right now, and I ask her questions about her life, she will be very curious, and she'll be very enthusiastic about talking about herself. All you have to be is genuinely interested about what so I'm curious about what she does, or how she's transitioned from India to Singapore, what does she do there, what is their life. So these are some genuine questions you can ask and build that conversations with other designers. So what you do with the beginners and new learners is that you inspire them. They are new to the industry, or they even want to get into the industry, and you share your journey with them. Like for example, our first experiences with the clients are always been ridiculous because we are new in the industry. We do not know how to deal with them, and you share your expertise with them. Like, hey, when you're talking to client, this is the way you talk to them, this is the way you present to them, you give them the context, you show them the design, and you take feedback. The first feedback for every designer is very hard, and all of us have gone through it. So you can ease out this burden on these young people, be the guide that you wanted when you just started out. So that is my mantra for it. I want to be the person I needed when I just started, and I want to be that friendly person I can talk about. I'm a lot transparent on all my channels. So help them out, just genuinely help them out like you are helping a friend. Uh, so when you are working with an office, you need to share the new techniques or the new trends, or that you are learning from the entire network of the part of the network you are. Like for example, if there's a new design sprint style, I'll give you an example of myself. So I got definitely got into design sprints. I really enjoyed the entire environment, and I wanted to take that back to my office, saying that, hey, why don't we try sprints? It's great for productivity. You can get in the development team, you can get the product managers, and you being the designers, you do this very collaboratively. I tried a jam session where I did this small exercise with them. Is someone asking a question? Um, so I tried this a small exercise in the office. So generally, when you feel like, okay, this is a new technique that could work in my office environment, you take it back to your office, have a genuine conversation with your team members. Like for example, in my current office, we were using Sketch, and it was very difficult to collaborate on Sketch. We were five different designers. So I just suggested that why don't we look at Figma as the next tool, or why don't we look at different tools so that we at least get better at collaboration. So then we had a lot of team discussions, and the entire team voted on then moving on to Figma. So bringing that positive energy, or recommending things to increase productivity, is something that you can do. Whether you can suggest books to each other, you guys should collaboratively work on design documentations. Design documentation is a whole another topic, and is really critical for, because when designers want to move out of the particular office, they do not have anything to show in their portfolio, and design documentation is really important. If you decide to quit today and then move out, you need to have this solid documentation in order to prove that you have worked for such a long time and you brought in so much results in that particular environment. So collectively, the entire design team needs to do all these activities. Two things that you need to adopt well as a design advocate is having that positive attitude towards any feedback, whether it's your design colleague, or whether it's your client, whether it's your boss. Take the critique, it's okay. When you take the critique, you're going to learn more and you're going to grow better. It's like that medicine pill that you need to take in order to get better. Just think of it like that and swallow that pill or swallow that bitter syrup you need to take and get better at it. And one more thing to remember as a always being positive about your designs. Generally, we connect a lot with our design. Like for example, if I produced a couple of screens, I'm very connected to it because I closely work with it. But if the client did not enjoy the particular design, they did not enjoy it. You have to take about you need to let go of your ego and then just purely focus on what the client truly needs and deliver according to that. If they think that isometric is super important to them, then do it in isometric. Don't give them flat illustrations. Every client has own their own preferences, their own choices. Like imagine yourself, like if you want to eat Chinese and someone's giving you Indian food, you're not going to take it because you still want to eat Chinese food. That is your preference. So think of your client in the similar fashion and start building your mindset for that. So, being a design advocate actually means you're sharing your knowledge and sharing this attitude or building this attitude for yourself that you are always doing these activities, whether you're at office, whether you're with non-designers. So, non-designers do not know what actually is design, what happens in design. Developers just think that you just magically just change fonts or splash in colors and that's all. So you need to tell them, okay, these are the different steps in designs. This is what I do. I interview people. I then translate them into designs. This is the wireframe. Even bring them into the wireframe itself. Like show them the process. Like, okay, this screen is going to be connected to this screen. This is how it flows. This is the entire onboarding section. This is the task section, and you are explaining it to them rather than just giving the handoff link saying that, hey, here are the screens and just develop it. That's not how you do it. Like I think being a design advocate also taps into building so many relationships. Suppose you're building a relationship with your developer, you do not imagine you are in a relationship with your partner and you just do not build have any empathy towards them and just keep on delegating tasks to them. Your partner is going to break up with you. Like you are not going to enjoy the relationship and you are seriously not going to want to be involved in such a relationship. So don't make that have that healthy conversation of back and forth, take their feedback. And the developers actually back the designers. Like for example, I was working in an agency and I used to sit with the developer and we used to go with the in the awards website and we used to keep on swiping, looking at so many references. And I used to have a conversation with my developer saying that, hey, this website looks really cool, can we create something like that? So he's like, oh yeah, we can create something like that, maybe we can try something. If this is not feasible, then they will definitely give an another option. So when you start having these conversation, is that when you grow as a designer and you become a whole rounded advocate towards your process, your work, and always over design. So the next part is when you're sharing your knowledge with all these clients and business people. So for example, when you're working with a client, you need to show your process also, just like you did with the developers. You need to sit with the client and say that, okay, these are the steps I do in my design. You can come in here and give your feedback. Laying out an entire transparent blueprint for them is super important. You need to talk about the ROI of the design. Like for example, you need to lay down some metrics for sure. Like for example, if your website has active users, how many active users it has, and after the design, how many active users it will have. So these are the things that you need to discuss with the client, and you need to give them the remedy as your design. Your design is your remedy, and they should be the center points. Like for example, when you go to the doctor, you explain your entire body pain, your problems that you're having with your body, and the doctor will give you a prescription for it. So you have to be the doctor in this case. We are not curing people, but we are curing businesses. So they should be the center point, not you. You do not give them the trends and the uh, what works in the industry. You need to listen to them first, what are their problems, and then prescribe them with according to their budget, their timeline. You have to prescribe them, okay, with the budget of 10,000 and the timeline of a week, this is what we can do with you. If you raise the budget to 1 lakh, then this is what we can do with you. So you need to have these conversation with the client, and that is you and at that point you can share, okay, this is what happens in the industry. If you want to work on this topic, it will help you increase the active users. You can get your website up and running. These are different conversations you need to have with these business people and clients. um, so the next point is where you're building a definite business mindset. Uh, when you're getting with the entire content generation, you're actually presenting constantly yourself into the crowd, like you are part of the crowd, but you are talking about different things you're passionate about. You're talking about you're talking about what you're truly enjoying in your life. You're talking about your work. So you're constantly putting yourself out there in front of people and pitching yourself. You're basically pitching yourself, and you're trying your hands on something new. Even if there's a chance of failure, you're constantly doing it, and that is super important. So what I call business mindset is actually a growth mindset. For example, there are three key points on a growth mindset, where you reflect and learn. Even if you do a mistake today, it's okay. You did a mistake, so just reflect on it. Why did you do the mistake? Why did this happen? And next time, make a particular backup plan so that you can avoid the mistake at all costs. The second point is you constantly invest in yourself. Uh, Make sure that you do side projects, you read new books, you learn new things. You definitely get into that growth mindset, and you'll never be stagnant in life. Whether you want to get that new senior designer role, or whether you want to start your own company, you need to invest in yourself, or you want to invest in your new ideas. Always do that. The third part is being transparent, always sharing your process, your journey, whether it's your new clients or people you connect with. Be yourself, and uh, tell them everything about whatever you do. It's okay. And in that format, you're actually sharing a lot, but don't overshare. Also, there's a fine line. You shouldn't give excuses for the work you have not done, because I went to the saloon to get my hair cut, or I did not just have time. You shouldn't give excuses. You have to be responsible for your work, your designs, and that is how you grow. You cannot give constant excuses that, okay, I did not give a handoff to the developer because there was less time. No, it's okay. If you have less time, you figure something out that, okay, I was given 2 hours and this is what I could ship in 2 hours, or this is a half a day work and I finished 3 hours of work today. I will be shipping out 3 hours of work tomorrow. So being that transparent and sharing something at that point is super important than not getting back at all. So I think this is really important for growing that mindset. So this is a Japanese proverb I really like, is and it's actually divided into these three sections I spoke about. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, then help someone. And these are the three parts I definitely take care. I have been taking care for over the past 1 year at least, where I'm investing in myself. I am trying to do a lot of side projects where I know that I can build some passive income in the future. I do takes enough breaks. Not maybe vacation is not right now the privilege because of the COVID situation, but I used to take a bit of vacation here and there every quarterly, and make sure you help others because that is the most ultimate form of happiness that you will get. Uh, and these are the different so based on the different levels of growth we spoke about in the last section. uh, is first one was self-care actually. So you need to pause in order to refuel when you're generating content for a really long time and also balancing a full-time job. It's really the burnout is very real. By the end of Friday I am burnt. Like I sometimes have to just laze around in the bed for the entire next day in order to feel better or get out of the bed on Sunday or do anything on the Sunday. So give yourself off that one day. You truly deserve it. If you are hustling so much, it's super important that you practice that self care. Uh, don't be too self critical on yourself. It's super because we are very judgmental and we are very self critical. People get into this routine that they have to hustle. They can't take a break, but give yourself that break. You truly deserve it. Then you have passive income. Do something or the other in the side, whether it's your old project. You can sell your old projects, or you can work on a UI kit. Or there are so many things you can do as a designer. You can sell your graphics, create your own merchandise. Be Have some side hustle, whether you're sharing insights about the books you read. There are so many things you can do. There are a lot of side incomes. Um, and then that's a whole another topic itself. uh, Now the third part is what I personally enjoy by myself, and I think that I have learned it over the past year, is giving back to the community, where I've gotten into mentoring. I have just purely enjoy all these aspects of the entire design. Uh, so, lastly, what we are going to jump into is building your personal brand. How do you get into this zone of building a brand for yourself? You need to have that particular mindset, and then you need to get into the whole building the process for yourself. So where do you start? Pick three social media channels and choose why are you going to be on them. So, for example, Instagram, YouTube. I have picked myself as Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Where Instagram I'm going to use just for connecting with audience. So I know which content works. I'm going to use that as a leverage for my YouTube, where I'll convert them into stronger work. For example, if the post that really did well for me was how do you get started into UI UX, or how do you find jobs related to UI UX. So I'm going to convert them into videos so that people can watch them, and that will have much more greater insight and my personal experience, because carousels are very quick. They give you just the basic summary, whereas the video will give the in-depth knowledge, and I can share a lot of things online into that video. Then LinkedIn will be a channel for just repurposing bites of content that I produce on Instagram and YouTube, so that I reach potential clients or people I want to work with in the future. So that can be. So you need to target three social channels and pick out what are you going to dedicate for which channel. Make sure you do not just focus onto one social media platform, because I faced that issue where my Instagram was almost going to be banned, and I was super scared because I was working on it for a really long time, for over a year, and I don't want my efforts to go to waste. So I started thinking about YouTube as another platform, where at least having that presence somewhere, whether it's on LinkedIn, is super important, because you are a part of a network, any form of a network. So what I want to say is be consistent visually. Like for example, if there is a post that is purple and has a pop of colors in it, people realize that it's my post. Whether it's my YouTube thumbnails or whether the post I'm creating, be consistent with consistent visually in form of a type or colors or choose your palette, and then whether it's a particular structure or a layout. So Ismail is one of the most popular creators on Instagram, and he creates content which is visually in pastels. They are different colors, but the structure is the same and the pattern is the same. So you can choose your own consistency based on a particular color or a type. And humans like to connect with humans. So whether you show your face a lot more, I've started using something called as bit emojis, where I don't have to pose in that particular format, but I can just use an emoji quickly, and use basically use emojis a lot, so that people actually connect well with emojis. Don't be afraid to show up, because a lot of times people just give up. They don't want to create content anymore because they're not driving results. You're not getting the same response. It's okay. You are at least going and posting every 5 days a week, and people will realize that even if you don't get that enough result, you're consistently at it, and people will recognize you that okay, this is the person that posts daily, and the posts are not doing so well, but at least it's there. You're at least in the feed of someone. uh, don't go behind 1000 follow. Even if you have 100 followers and you come into their post every you come into their feed with a post every day, that that shows that you actually connected those at least 100 to 1000 people who are consistently in your network. Have those genuine conversation if your audience is really low, and go ask them how could you make the content better, or reach out to already the content creators and take their feedback. But don't what I feel like, you need to actually connect with someone in order to ask them questions. Like for example, if you pop into my DMs and say that, hey Trupti, would you take a look at my feed, whether but I don't know you, or I haven't spoken to you, I will be very hesitant to go and check out your feed. But whether you have been connecting with me, like Sandeep said, I had reached out to you before, and I had asked you a particular question. I do not know about. Definitely get back to DMs, but his reference point that he did something 3 to 4 months before, and now he's just reaching out to me saying that if you needed some help, so I'll get back to him, because 4 months behind also we had this conversation, and he's following it up, that conversation, after 3 to 4 months. So you cannot just pop in into DM and ask. You need to give a little bit of curiousness in the other person for them to. So I have particular people in my DMs like Dhruv, Sachin. I don't know if they're attending the webinar today, but they really support me, and they constantly engage with my stories, my posts. So I know that when they reach out to me and ask for some help, even if I'm super busy in my day, I will definitely open up their DMs and reply back to them. All this is a marathon. You are not going to finish any of it in just a month or 2 months or 3 months. It took me 1 year to get where I am. So please don't get disheartened when you're just starting off. So just keep on doing it for a period of time, even if does not uh, when things don't work out, it's okay. But you're doing it for yourself, and you're not doing it for showcasing other people that, hey, I have built 50,000 followers on Instagram, or I have 500, or I have 50,000 on the YouTube. You're doing it for yourself. You are learning consistently, and this is for your own growth. So always think on that parameter. Don't think about what you're going to tell others.